Censored Science, the scientist who solved gravity. Chapter 1. Into the Silence. You stand at the threshold of a quiet chamber inside your mind, where light filters through invisible cracks. Soft echoes of hidden research swirl like dust motes dancing in a sunbeam. In this hush, the air seems to vibrate with questions of mass and motion. You sense the rhythm of suppressed theories, each waiting for discovery. Your heart pulses gently, inviting you closer to the unseen. With each inhale, you draw in curiosity for gravity's hidden contours. You recall Newton's simple thought experiment of an apple falling toward Earth, revealing a force that binds mass. Yet Einstein's insight imagines space-time as a flexible fabric, bending under weight. In your mind's chamber, those ideas merge. Each breath flows like a wave through curved space, mapping the gentle pull between distant planets and stars. In the stillness, you sense a faint vibration, like a whisper carried across the cosmos. These are gravitational waves, ripples in space-time created by massive events, like black holes colliding or neutron stars merging. Detectors like LIGO capture their passing tremors, translating shifts smaller than an atomic nucleus into signals we can study. You feel subtle pulses resonate within, a reminder of unseen forces echoing through reality. Your breath synchronizes with these cosmic vibrations, as if your lungs expand and contract in time with the universe's rumble. In physics, frequency measures how often a wave repeats each second, a concept you grasp intuitively. Every inhale becomes a cycle. Every exhale completes one. You imagine tuning an instrument to match this hidden frequency, harmonizing your inner awareness with the rhythm that underlies all existence. As you rest in this hum, you realize that the hidden frequency you feel is but one layer of nature's quiet song. Below every wave lie deeper currents, fields and particles dancing in subtle patterns. You allow a question to surface. What unseen interactions await your exploration? In the stillness, you hold that question as a soft whisper, ready to guide you into the next inner chamber. Chapter 2. The Weight of Secrets. You lean into a memory like amber light, noticing a hum beneath your ribs, a quiet echo of Earth's gravity pulling you at 9.8 meters per second squared. A steady pulse guides you down narrow stairs into a basement lab. There, lamps cast pools, and you glimpse balance scales tracking minute weight changes. The air tastes faintly of copper and dust. You remember the first crackle of the torsion balance, a simple device that measures gravitational attraction between small lead spheres. Isaac Newton taught that two masses attract with a force proportional to their weights, and inversely with the square of their distance. Yet in this room, someone sought anomalies beyond his law. Coils of copper wire line the walls like silent sentinels. You see how they shimmer in low lamplight, each turn designed to capture faint magnetic fields or variations in gravitational pull. Electromagnetic induction, a principle discovered by Michael Faraday, can translate motion into electric current. Those currents became whispers of unaccounted forces. Your hands float over yellowed graphs pinned to a corkboard. Decay of ink is a fact you feel in your fingertips. Years of oxidation and secrecy. The lines undulate, rising and falling like tidal waves, each data point a question mark. Could gravity bend in ways unpredicted? hinting at unknown particles or hidden energy fields. You follow a thread of suppressed journals, imagining them locked in steel vaults. You feel the gentle thrill of discovery as numbers shimmer with potential, anomalies waiting for gentle reinterpretation. Dark matter remains hypothetical, yet these curves might have brushed its outline decades ago. Your breath slows as you sense that every experiment, every measurement, carries a weight of hidden stories. And deep within the hush of that lab, an even quieter pulse beckons, a secret force that still calls to your curiosity. In the hush following each measurement, you sense a seam between classical gravity and subtle ripples of quantum fluctuation, an invitation to chase mysteries that shimmer beyond your reach. Chapter 3: Echoes Beneath the Earth. You step through a narrow tunnel hewn in ancient bedrock, formed in layers over eons, feeling the cool air brush your skin. Each breath mingles with the Earth's silent pulse. You see walls curved like shell architecture in their subtle symmetry. Above lies a distant world resting in soft memory. As you descend deeper, gravity's hold lightens imperceptibly. Practically, gravitational force decreases slightly farther from Earth's center, though you won't float completely. Still, you carry a gentle buoyancy, almost as if a hidden buoy lifts your weight from within. In this subterranean realm, you sense the vast pull of science unfolding around and beneath you. The lantern at your hip casts a dim halo that dances across jagged walls. Nearby, an abandoned seismometer rests on a stone pedestal, its coils bearing strain. Traces of magnetic field sensors flicker with residual tension, like a paused heartbeat. You imagine earlier explorers calibrating these devices to map the planet's hidden rhythms, leaving an echo in metal and time. Every step you take shifts the ground by fractions of a millimeter. These tiny movements send P waves, primary seismic waves, plunging through rock, followed by slower S waves that sheathe the Earth in subtle undulations. Though unseen, you feel their resonance under your boots, a reminder that beneath each layer, energy travels in patterns scientists decode to understand fault lines and ancient tremors. You pause before a polished metal plate embedded in the wall, its surface cool and smooth. Pressing your palm to it, you detect a faint shift. Microgravity at play, slight enough to feel like a whispered invitation. In that moment, you grasp how mass and distance orchestrate gravity's pull, an unseen conductor directing cosmic dance with wonder. The rock around you seems to breathe with ancient knowledge, its grain whispering hints of minerals yet to be revealed. You imagine crystals blossoming in hidden chambers, chemical bonds weaving new forms beneath layers unseen. This moment is a threshold where curiosity flickers like a phosphorescent glow. You sense the world's deep heartbeat, inviting you to explore its next secret. Chapter 4: Whispers of Quantum Gravity. You settle into a quiet corner of your mind, noticing a gentle hum around you. Soft particles flicker like fireflies in a dusky glade, each one carrying a tiny bit of energy. You recognize these as quantum fields, the ever-present vibrations that fill every point in space. In real physics, these fields obey the rules of quantum mechanics, where particles appear and vanish in a delicate dance. You watch light and matter emerging from the same invisible sea of probabilities. You feel a soft stillness, like the pause between heartbeats, grounding you. Now you sense gravity weaving through the flicker. In Einstein's view, mass tells space-time how to curve, and space-time tells mass how to move. That familiar truth feels both immense and intimate. You imagine a fabric stretching beneath your feet, its surface rippling under every weight and motion. At the quantum scale, gravity becomes a whisper, almost too faint to hear. Yet theories like loop quantum gravity and string theory propose that even gravity can come in discrete quanta, tiny bundles of space itself. You feel your mind expanding as you envision Planck length, the scale at which space might be grainy. About 1/10 billion trillion trillionth of a meter, it is the ultimate frontier of measurement. You recall that quantum foam describes space bubbling with fleeting particles, each bubble a momentary fluctuation. You hold this image of a churning sea beneath a calm surface. In real experiments, particle accelerators glimpse some hints of these effects. Though true quantum gravity remains beyond our current reach. In this gentle space, you notice space-time itself might quiver under an unseen hand. Every quiver hints at deeper layers of reality, perhaps woven from strings or loops you have yet to meet. You rest in a moment of quiet curiosity, aware that each question leads you farther into the unknown. Your thoughts drift on patterns of mathematics, where each symbol holds a whisper of discovery. Tomorrow, you will follow that whisper, guided by wonder toward the next secret hiding in the fabric of existence. You drift onward as time tilts. Chapter 5. The Lost Equation. You cradle a faded parchment, its fibers warm beneath your touch. The margins are filled with symbols that once redefined weight and counterweight. You feel the rough texture against your palm as you trace a delicate curve toward a tiny superscript. The idea of mass and inertia lives here, not in abstract halls, but in quiet curls of ink on a fragile document. You breathe deeply, sensing how a simple change in balance can shift the world. A single symbol resonates, a lowercase g that hints at gravitational acceleration. In physics, GE represents the rate at which objects fall under Earth's pull, roughly 9.8 meters per second squared. You imagine the parchment vibrating with the pulse of falling apples and orbiting moons. Each line of the equation suggests a pathway through space-time. As Einstein taught, matter and energy curve the fabric of space around them. You almost feel that curvature beneath your fingertips. You pause at a slender equation, where a negative mass term flirts with possibility. Negative mass remains hypothetical, a concept that could reverse gravitational attraction if it exists. It feels like a doorway to anti-gravity, an idea that defies everyday experience, yet arises from theoretical work. You sense your pulse slow, lulled by the thought that science whispers secrets in symbols instead of shouting them in experiments. A soft hum seems to echo from the paper, as if the parchment remembers when someone else listened to its message. You imagine that researcher leaning in, quill poised, heart steady with curiosity. Your heart thumps in response, a quiet drum against the silence. You realize that knowledge is not a solitary path. It is woven through generations by many hands, each adding a resonance to the whole. The final line of the equation curves elegantly toward an unresolved variable. You feel at the threshold of discovery, standing between what is known and what remains to be learned. A gentle hush envelops you as you set the parchment before you, leaving that empty variable like an open door. You wonder what secrets wait beyond its frame, inviting your next step into the unknown. Chapter 6: Gravity and Alchemy. You step into a narrow, candlelit corridor whose walls are lined with tall wooden shelves. The amber glow illuminates vials of mercury, salt, and powdered metals. You inhale a faint scent of sulfur and earth. In this hushed space, you sense the ancient alchemist's quest to transform base metals and, in their minds, even the weight that pulls us downward. Here, gravity feels like a hidden ingredient, ready to be unraveled. As you move forward, each flicker of flame reveals faded manuscripts etched with curious symbols. You read of weight and mass, learning how mass measures the amount of matter, while weight describes the gravitational force acting on that matter. Earth's gravitational acceleration, roughly 9.8 meters per second squared, tethers every object to its core. In alchemical metaphor, the alchemist sought a reagent that could turn this invisible pull into something malleable. You pause beside an iron-bound chest and imagine the apple that fell, inspiring Newton's universal law of gravitation. You feel the curious tug between every pair of masses, governed by F equals G, m sub 1 m sub 2 over r squared. Gravity is not magic. It is a measurable force dependent on mass and distance, connecting apples and planets alike in a silent, calculating embrace. G, as the gravitational constant, binds particle. Deeper in the corridor, etched diagrams of curved lines invite you to envision space-time itself bending around massive stars. Einstein's insight reveals gravity not as a pull, but as warping of a four-dimensional fabric. Mass and energy tell space-time how to curve, and space-time tells objects how to move. In a gentle twist of alchemical thought, you imagine intention as a catalyst, transforming geometry like base lead softly shimmering into gold. As you stand before a hearth, you feel the warmth of those fires stirring a promise. The alchemists pursued transformation in beakers and bellows, and gravity remains as elusive as the philosopher's stone. You sense a key in interplay of matter and force shimmering at the edge of your mind. In the hush between flame and shadow, you listen for the next whisper of discovery, wondering what shape it will take. Chapter 7: Resonance of the Sphere. You stand at the threshold of a circular chamber, surrounded by brass spheres that catch the muted glow of overhead lamps. Each sphere is suspended by a slender wire, forming a perfect circle. In physics, this arrangement resembles a simple harmonic oscillator network, where masses and springs exchange energy in periodic motion. You inhale the quiet anticipation and feel a subtle vibration underfoot. Gentle pulses emerge as you trace your fingertips across the smooth metal surface. These spheres hum with torsion field experiments, first proposed in Einstein-Cartan theory, where space-time can twist under particle spin. Although unverified in mainstream labs, torsion remains a fascinating extension of general relativity, hinting at hidden geometries. You sense a delicate pattern, as if gravity itself has a secret song waiting to unfold. The chamber's interior holds a viscous liquid that dampens stray motion, resembling a Newtonian fluid with uniform viscosity. In this medium, each oscillation slows gracefully, demonstrating how fluids absorb kinetic energy through viscosity. You drift as the spheres resonate, waves of pressure propagating gently outward. The fluid filters high frequencies, leaving only the lowest harmonics, like a filter that reveals deep bass notes in a vast symphony. Beyond the visible glow, you recall LIGO's detection of gravitational waves, ripples in space-time that pass like distant ripples on a pond. Those waves share a low-frequency signature, echoing the slow hum here. You imagine the spheres capturing fragmentary whispers of cosmic collisions, converting them into tangible vibrations. Science transforms imperceptible phenomena into experience, reminding you that every subtle movement has a story woven in space-time fabric. You feel your spine align with the chamber's resonant frequency, echoing how a driven oscillator reaches peak amplitude when push and natural motion coincide. In this coupling, low damping lets vibrations grow until equilibrium gently balances energy input. The brass spheres pulse with synchronous clarity, and your own rhythm becomes part of the loop. You sense torsion fields merging with harmonics, as if spin and curvature of space-time whisper their duet. This moment straddles the boundary between theory and feeling, like the final note of a lullaby held in silence, guiding you onward to another gentle whispered secret pulse. Chapter 8. The Border of Light. You step into the hushed observatory at the edge of the world, where polished lenses frame distant constellations. Your breath slows as you gaze through the eyepiece, noticing starlight bending in a soft arc around invisible masses. Each tiny shift in a star's position whispers a secret. Gravity can shape the path of light itself. In this gentle curvature, you discover a quiet wonder, as real and surprising as waves bending around a hidden island. You trace that luminous trail, aware of a hidden choreography between masses too small to see and photons racing across the void. You adjust the lens to sharpen the faint halos, uncovering arcs of ghostly light that no one spoke of in textbooks. In physics, this bending of light is called gravitational lensing, a consequence of Einstein's general theory of relativity. You imagine space as a flexible fabric, stretching and warping around heavy objects. When a star or galaxy presses into that fabric, it creates a dimple that redirects passing light. Like a marble rolling around a dent, a photon curves its path, arriving at your eye from an unexpected direction. Each bright arc in your view is a silent conversation between mass, space, and time, unfolding in real time before your steady gaze. You feel the weight of centuries of curiosity pressing against your fingertips. You feel the hush of the cosmos settling around you, inviting introspection. In this room, you become both observer and participant in a cosmic ballet. Light and gravity intertwine in an intimate embrace, revealing hidden realms behind everyday perceptions. It feels as if you have crossed a threshold, glimpsing a deeper layer of reality where the familiar rules of straight lines and fixed positions give way. Your heart mirrors the gentle arc of the starlight, expanding with quiet awe. As you release your breath, the boundary between light and gravity dissolves into infinite potential. You realize that each subtle twist of a photon carries a story from distant galaxies. In this still moment, you sense the border of light is not an ending, but an invitation, a delicate edge that asks you to peer beyond, ready for the next discovery, always awaiting your gentle gaze. Chapter 9. Dreams of Levitation. You lie submerged in a soft swirl of water, noticing how each ripple curves around your body like a gentle ribbon. A slender column of liquid arches upward, rotating on its own axis to form a quiet vortex. In fluid dynamics, this rotating motion traces a path where pressure decreases near the center, drawing the current inward. You feel the water's touch as both cradle and guide, revealing motion that feels almost alive, breathing around you. As you drift deeper, fine streams of air rise in delicate bubbles, reminding you of Archimedes' discovery that buoyant force equals the weight of displaced fluid. Each bubble lifts gently toward the surface, carrying a whisper of calm and the promise of release from gravity's embrace. You sense the subtle interplay between density and upward push, a simple principle that transforms heaviness into graceful ascent. Your limbs feel light, surrendered to the tender logic of buoyancy. A soft current guides you toward a broader spiral, where centripetal force and pressure differences orchestrate the dance of water and air. In a vortex, faster flow near the edge lowers local pressure, inviting calmer streams to rush inward and feed the rotation. You follow this quiet choreography, sensing how energy transfers around the curve, like a song without sound. Each turn soothes restless thoughts, replacing tension with a rhythmic swirl of mindful calm. Your body drifts in the balance between laminar and turbulent flow, finding comfort in coherent eddies that spin with silent order. Victor Schauberger spoke of water's living quality, the potential to harness its vortex power for lift and renewal. You imagine those early experiments, tubes carved to encourage graceful rotations, promising flight without wings. Each coherent vortex strand feels like a gentle tether, pulling you toward an inner stillness where energy curves around itself in peaceful repetition. In this weightless sanctuary, you sense the final secret stirring beneath the surface, a silent promise between centrifugal escape and centripetal embrace. Your breath whispers against unseen walls, each exhale carving space for wonder. The water holds your reflection, blurred by gentle waves hinting at a portal ahead. You rest in the turning current, held by science and mystery, ready for a quiet awakening beyond this spiral. Chapter 10. Unbinding the Fall. You stand at the threshold where gravity's grip loosens like a forgotten tether. In the tender glow of dawn, you feel a subtle tension unravel as if each atom in your body senses the gentle pull of Earth relaxing its hold. You notice how gravitational acceleration, measured by 9.8 meters per second squared, defines your every step, and yet your awareness is rising beyond that invisible rule. A hush falls around you, inviting your mind to explore what happens when weight itself begins to fade. In this quiet moment, you reflect on experiments once silenced by gravity's constant demand. You imagine Galileo's ball rolling on a gentle incline, revealing that all objects share the same acceleration, regardless of mass. That fundamental insight, born from simple observation, whispers of a deeper freedom. You understand that mass resists acceleration, but in free fall, the weightless state dissolves that resistance. Here, beneath the soft sky, you sense the lineage of those silent tests in your pulse. You breathe slowly, anchoring your awareness in the feeling of release. As you exhale, you envision the space station traveling where astronauts float in continuous free fall around Earth. In that circle, they experience microgravity, an illusion of weightlessness born from perpetual descent. You find poetry in the physics, a constant drop that never reaches the ground. Through this lens, gravity becomes companion rather than captor, guiding you gently toward curiosity. Your heartbeat resonates with questions unasked. You consider gravity as a fabric woven into space-time, bending around mass like a silk sheet beneath a pebble. Each pulse moves you across that curvature, tracing paths. You realize that letting go of gravity's anchor reveals both vulnerability and wonder. You feel centuries-old silence dissolving in your chest, each beat echoing experiments unafraid to test the pull of the unknown. As the horizon softens in dawn's glow, you sense that the true journey lies ahead. The weight you carry lifts, yet you remain grounded in wonder. You hold the collective pulse of suppressed experiments and quiet questions against Earth's pull. In this gentle moment, you stand ready to step beyond known limits, guided by curiosity and the silent promise of unbound gravity. A single thread of question softly lingers, beckoning you toward what comes next.